Coming up soon, I've got a pretty special guest joining me with JPMorgan Wealth Management. I've said it once and I'll say it again. JPMorgan Wealth Management and JPMorgan Chase have been with me since the beginning. Bonita, Brian, all of you, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Cari Champion.
Wait, video. Help me out. Young black girl living a dream. Haven't had the opportunity. Thank you. Had to take
Thank
that
you
video.
so much for being here. Welcome to the Apollo. Huge shout out. Huge shout out to JPMorgan Wealth Management for making this one possible. I am so excited to dig in because there's so much you have and knowledge you have to give to us. So you've done some great work with our sponsor, JPMorgan Wealth Management, on the topic of building a new legacy. Now, can you share a little bit with us about that work and why is it so important to you to share with others how they can build their legacy?
For me, because this is my journey, I think for so long, growing up, we never talked about money. And when we did talk about money in my household, it was about what we didn't have. Once I started being comfortable talking about finances and being debt and paying off my student loans, that I shared what it looked like and how uncomfortable it is and how scary it is. But if you just run toward that fear of talking about finances, you can really truly change your outlook and your relationship. The relationship with money is so important.
And yeah, we understand that JPMorgan has, and many people out there have databases and they have a bunch of information and resources. But where do you think it plays? Because a lot of people think, well, my friend told me to buy crypto.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever. I mean, that's just we hear, right?
That's real.
How important was education to you?
To your point, have we not all had a friend who said, buy some crypto, or you should do this with me, or go in with me on this? And it's so intimidating. It's so uncomfortable. And you probably I have a friend who's like, let's trade some stocks during the day. I do it, for my coffee. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand. And so what I realized, and I hope that everybody here, which is why you're probably here today, is that you have to be able to ask the questions no matter how simple or how dumb they sound. And then I also really wanted to surround myself with people who had a lifeline like yours, who really built from the mud.
If you like what she's saying, she needs to know, right? And as you said on there, I think you said you were the first in your family to buy a home, correct? And there's going to be so many people here that are going to be the first to go to college, open a business, buy a home, even travel.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of, there's a lot to rejoice when you're the first in your family to do that.
Yeah.
Like, can you talk about
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a big
please.
deal. It's a big deal.
Can you talk about the impact that had on you and your family, that accomplishment?
And I looked up one day and I had what I thought was a lot of money, but it was enough to put a down payment on a home. I bought a house at the top of the pandemic in 2020 when people were afraid to buy. I did something that was scary for me.
What would you say to people who are trying to be an entrepreneur, but they're the underdog, like when you started?
You should not try, and I cannot emphasize this enough. It's easy for me to say it, it's easy for him to say it, but you should not try to keep up with the Joneses, as the family would say. Like, you just shouldn't do it. There's nothing smart about it. And I don't know if it was you who interviewed Venus Williams, but discipline is the key to freedom.
Yeah.
Discipline will give you every single thing you desire in your life. I need you guys to let that sit in your spirit, because that is something that is really important.
Really
because
true.
when you're like, I don't want to worry about money. I want money to make money for me. I want to work smart. I don't want to work hard.
But we always were afraid to walk into the bank to ask a question. Mm-hmm. We thought it was intimidating. Meanwhile, I paid 6% to get my check cash in place, not knowing any better.
Which is insane.
So it's all about this constant education. Now, I know you're bringing up these beautiful young black ladies. What are you teaching them as you mentor them?
So when I started Brown Girls Dream in 2017, but it really went on live in 2018, it was because I didn't see a lot of give back in the community of the world in which I worked in. I didn't see a lot of women who looked like me giving back to women who wanted to do what I wanted to do, whether that be in front of the camera or behind the scenes. And I started this program, and it was really informal, and I just put it on my social media, and I was just like, maybe I'll mentor 5 girls or 10 girls, and I got 500 applicants, and I was like, wait, hold on.
Wow.
It's just me, you know what I mean? But it was huge, It was huge. And then something really beautiful happened. And I just reached out to different women, doctors, and they were all like, yes, I want to give advice. And once we started having these really honest conversations about what you're making and your take home, and just breaking it down, it was so basic. And people were embarrassed and uncomfortable because we have such an uncomfortable relationship with money. Get comfortable with your relationship talking about money. You don't have to tell everybody your business, because if you grew up like me, you ain't telling everybody your business. But you can have this conversation, because if Bozema didn't tell me I was woefully underpaid while I was working at ESPN, I wouldn't have went in and doubled my salary. If someone didn't tell me you are worth this when you do a speaking engagement, I would have accepted less.
Well, you are a shining star. You are, the face of determination, discipline. I really love what you're doing for our community. I love what you are, doing for these little beautiful brown women, and what you did for us today. So everybody give it up for Cari Champion.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you again to JPMorgan Wealth Management for being with us from day one, as well as providing this amazing conversation.
Talking about money is hard. It's uncomfortable, but we can only end the stigma surrounding money by starting the conversation. That's why I've partnered with JPMorgan Wealth Management to share my story and why it's important to invest in your future. Growing up, my family never talked about their finances, so I didn't know much about money. When I was 18, I was planning to go on my very first trip with a group of classmates. But as we approached our travel date, I quickly realized I had a problem. I did not have any suitcases. No one in my family had suitcases either. They never traveled. So I had to borrow luggage from a friend. I fell in love with traveling, but realized traveling costs money. So I had to learn how to save and eventually how to invest to reach my financial goals. Those habits helped me travel to locations that I only dreamed of. And they also helped me understand the power of wealth, as I would go on to become the first person in my immediate family to be a homeowner. This is why financial literacy is so important. At some point in your life, you're going to have a conversation about money, whether it's with your boss, your partner, your kids, the list goes on and on. The more you know and understand, the better chance you have at securing a better future. I had to go out on my own to learn how to build generational wealth. Now, I'm not only able to talk about money, but I can encourage and mentor others on how they can build their own success, and that's a dream come true.